Welcome back to Top Choice Movies Recap. Today's film is a 2018 action thriller movie titled The Commuter. Watch out for spoilers, sit back and enjoy it. Every day, Michael McCauley, played by Liam Neeson, goes through the same routine prior to his daily commute. He spends time with his wife Karen, played by Elizabeth McGovern, and son Danny, played by Dean Charles Chapman, before boarding the train to work, frequently engaging with other regular commuters like Walt, played by Jonathan Banks. Michael works as a life insurance salesman. However, on this particular day, Michael's boss calls him into his office to tell him he is being laid off. Despite trying to argue against it, Michael is let go. Michael goes to a bar where he meets his friend, Officer Alex Murphy, played by Patrick Wilson, who was also Michael's former partner during his time as a detective. As they chat, there's a news story on TV about a city planner that supposedly jumped to his death several nights earlier. Michael admits to Murphy that he hasn't told Karen about getting laid off yet. They then find out that a former colleague that they don't like, Dave Hawthorne, played by Sam Neill, is now captain. He comes over to chat with the men for a brief moment. On the train ride home, Michael is told by Walt that a woman is observing him. Michael sits down and is joined by the woman, Joanna, played by Vera Farmiga. After a brief friendly chat, Joanna tells Michael that there is a compartment on the train containing $25,000, plus another $75,000 in cash. She tells him he can have it as long as he helps find someone at the last stop at Cold Spring under the name Prin. Before departing, Joanna hints at knowing about Michael being a former cop. Michael looks in the designated compartment and does find the money. When the train reaches a stop, a young woman finds Michael and tries to claim the money, but Michael decides to keep it for himself. The woman then hands Michael an envelope, saying it's a warning. Michael opens the envelope and finds Karen's wedding ring. Since he lost his own phone, Michael borrows the phone of another commuter, Tony, played by Andy Nyman. He tries to call Karen, but cannot reach her. He tries Murphy and gets the same result, but leaves a message. He then hears from Joanna, who tells him he's made his choice and must now find Prin, or something will happen to Karen and Danny. Michael tries to leave a message on a piece of newspaper for Walt to contact the police. Joanna calls Michael again and directs his attention out the window. He sees Walt about to cross the street to talk to officers, but someone working with Joanna pushes Walt into the path of a bus, killing him. She warns Michael that this is what happens when he tries to weasel his way out. She instructs Michael to find Prin and a bag that they are holding, and to put a tracker they slipped to him onto the bag. Michael observes the other passengers in case anyone is watching him. He interacts with a few who just think he's weird. Michael sees one young girl, Gwen Florence Pugh, with a bag, but when he follows her, he sees she's carrying fake IDs for her boyfriend. Michael then spots one young man, Dylan Killian Scott, talking on the phone and carrying a bag. Michael follows Dylan, who attacks him in the next car for following him. When Michael mentions Prin, Dylan gets suspicious, and the two continue fighting until Michael lets Dylan win so he can slip the tracker on him. Just then, Michael receives a phone call from Murphy. After Michael tells him what's going on, Murphy mentions that a witness using the name Prin claims to have seen two men throwing the city planner to his death. After hanging up with Murphy, a while later, Michael is called by Joanna again, and he looks under the floor of the empty car. Dylan's body is stuffed in there with a bullet in his head. She blames Michael for this happening, as he identified the wrong person. To make things worse, the police are coming after being told about disturbances on the train. Michael hides next to Dylan's body, but gets locked in when a cop inspecting the car steps on the handle. Michael slips off of the train just as it starts up again, and then rolls out from under it before running back to the train. His bag gets caught, and when he pulls it back, all the money, except for a $100 bill, flies out. As the train gets closer to Cold Spring, Michael gets more desperate. He pegs 5 commuters as potentially being Prin since he's never seen them on the train before. After mistakenly thinking a man playing cards with Tony is Prin, Michael follows a guitar player, Oliver played by Cogner Holdbrook-Smith, into the empty car. Oliver turns out not to be Prin, but an assassin working with Joanna, sent to kill Prin. Michael fights Oliver for a while until they break a window, with Oliver trying to push Michael out, but Michael gets the upper hand and stabs Oliver in the neck before throwing him out the window, where he gets run over by another passing train. He then grabs Oliver's gun. With 2 stops remaining, Michael causes the train's air conditioning to malfunction, so that all the remaining passengers move to the empty car, where the AC still works. He then suspects a nurse, Eva played by Clara Largo, of being Prin. He takes her phone, thinking she is contacting Joanna, and holds her at gunpoint to tell the truth. Frightened, Eva admits she had a fight with her boyfriend and is trying to fix things up with him. Michael apologizes after realizing she's telling the truth. Once they reach Cold Spring, Michael slowly realizes that Prin isn't anyone he suspected before. He recalls a young woman going to Cold Spring had switched seats after being next to an obnoxious passenger. The woman's name is Sophia, played by Ella Ray Smith. Prin comes from her reading The Scarlet Letter and its protagonist, Hester Prin. Michael realizes that Sophia witnessed the murder and is supposed to testify with 2 FBI agents at Cold Spring. But since he refuses to give her up, Joanna declares via another phone call that everyone will die now. The train moves on, but Michael tells one of the conductors, Sam played by Colin McFarlane, to stop the train. Sam pulls the emergency brake, but the train keeps moving because the engineer is dead. With the train set to crash, Michael and Sam try to unhinge their car from the rest of the train. Michael manages to get it loose with Sam's help, but the car is still attached by a chain. Sam helps Michael get it loose, but the train crashes with Sam still inside, and Michael manages to jump onto the other car, which derails and comes to a screeching halt on the outskirts of a train yard. Once everyone has calmed down, Michael asks Sophia what she might have that the villains want. She pulls out some kind of flash drive containing information that the city planner, who was a friend of Sophia's, might have known about. Sophia also mentions that she couldn't go to the police because the killers were cops. The police then arrive outside, believing that Michael has taken the passengers hostage. Murphy shows up and tries to talk Michael down. Michael helps a large group of passengers go out, with a few remaining on board. Michael tries to get Murphy to tell him what he may know about the conspiracy. Murphy mentions the phrase, "There's no such thing as noble," which is something Joanna said earlier, cluing Michael into Murphy's involvement. After admitting his guilt, Murphy takes out his gun, telling Michael he's got his family to worry about as well. Murphy goes looking for Prin. When Sophia tries to reveal herself, other passengers start saying they are Prin as well. Michael and Murphy then fight, while the cops outside try to get a clear shot at Michael. Michael manages to take Murphy's tracker, tricking the police. Once Murphy draws his weapon, Hawthorne orders the cops to take the shot, killing Murphy. Outside, Michael is reunited with Karen and Danny after being told that agents arrested 3 men outside their home. Sophia meets the FBI agents and gives her testimony. The other passengers consider Michael a hero. He then talks to Hawthorne, who says they will investigate Murphy and any accomplices he may have had. Hawthorne also suggests inviting Michael back to his old job as a detective. Sometime later, Michael is back on the train, and he manages to find Joanna. Although she pretends not to know him, Michael figures he's got her whole scheme pegged and that it won't work now. When she asks him how he thinks this will end, Michael simply takes out his detective badge. The movie is one of those moral conundrums that really only generates suspense if you believe that a working-class hero, who radiates decency, would condemn another person to death for $100,000. Nevertheless, Neeson goes the extra kilometer trying to sell us on the character's economic desperation, As well as his macho pride, Michael couldn't bring himself to tell his wife and kids that he just got fired. So there's pressure to make this right immediately so he'll never have to spill the truth. In a nutshell, don't get greedy for the sake of needs, by replacing life for money. There is always a way round critical situations, never give up. And that's a wrap, lovely people. We now post every week. To stay up to date with our latest videos and moral lesson tips, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking the button below this video. Thank you for watching. Stay safe.